Right, recording has started. And 10. All right, I'm going to go live now if everyone is okay. All right, here we go. Start.
Okay. So hello and welcome to our public hearing on the proposed rule for Washington State Register number 23-19-041 for the chronic wasting disease incentive tag proposal. Thank you so much for joining us today remotely. My name is Scott Bird, and I am the agency rules coordinator for the Department of Fish and Wildlife for the state of Washington. Today's date is October the 24th, 2023, and the time is 3 p.m. This meeting is being recorded, and the recording will be made available online on our rulemaking page shortly after the meeting has concluded. I'd also like to state for the record that Director Kelly Sussman is attending today's hearing. This public hearing was noticed on the CR-102 rule proposal, which was filed on September 13th, 2023 with the Washington State Code Revisor. We will have a presentation to brief you on the rule proposal, and then we will take public comment from attendees. When it is your turn to testify, please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, to allow enough time for everyone to speak. With that, let's jump right into the presentation. I'm pleased to introduce Kyle Garrison, the department's ungulate section manager and manager of this rule project, and Malia DeVivo, the department's ungulate research scientist. I'll turn it over to you, Kyle.
Thank you, Scott. Share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen.
Kyle, I see it.
We see it.
All right. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon, Director Sussman. For the record, my name is Kyle Garrison. I'm the section manager of the game division in the wildlife program, and here today to give you a briefing of a proposal related to multi-season incentive tags and the department's chronic wasting disease surveillance program. So the WAC in question today is 220-412-090, titled Multi-Season Deer and Elk Tags. So this proposal is related to chronic wasting disease, and as such, I give a little bit of background on this disease. CWD is a disease of cervids, which includes deer, elk, and moose in North America. This disease is caused by a prion, which is a misfolded protein. Prions spread in the brain by causing normal proteins to misfold, which causes tissue degeneration and ultimately the death of the animal. This disease is highly transmissible and has no cure or treatment. It is always fatal to the animal and has been shown to cause population declines. And animals that have this disease can appear quite normal and do not display clinical signs until the end stages, which can take months to years to get to. And that long progression of the disease really adds to the complexity and the challenge of managing the disease once it becomes established. So on the right here, this is just a photo of an elk that is affected by chronic wasting disease. Again, this is one of the later stages where you can see those outward clinical signs. And below are a couple of recent articles that show the potential for this disease to cause declines in free-ranging cervids, in this case, white-tailed deer and mule deer. Adding to the complexity of this disease and its management, a diagnosis of CWD does require a tissue sample from a dead animal. So this figure illustrates the distribution of the disease in North America. The gray shaded areas represent confirmations of the disease within a free-ranging cervid population, and the circles indicate detections within captive facilities. As you can see here on this map, there are no cases of CWD known and detected in Washington, but recent detections in northwest Montana and on the Idaho-Washington border do increase the risk of natural transmission of this disease into our state. Because of that risk, the department and its partners have implemented a pre-detection surveillance program that is focused in the easternmost region of our state, which is highlighted on the figure on the right here. This program has been in place since 2021, although the department has done other CWD surveillance as funding is allowed for over the last 2 decades. Our current program collects samples from several sources, and the focus is on hunter harvested animals. Hunters submit samples voluntarily at check stations that are operated by the Department of Fish and Wildlife, or through an appointment with WDFW staff, or drop-off kiosks, or by mailing samples in. To encourage participation in this program, the department conducts widespread outreach to publicize both the program and check station availability before and during hunting seasons. Despite those efforts, though, samples from all of our sources have been insufficient to meet the minimum required sample sizes to detect CWD at low prevalence levels, which is what we would expect in a newly emergent disease. So with that in mind, the department is proposing an incentive designed to increase hunter participation and sample collection to maximize our ability to detect the disease should it emerge in our state. To do so, we're proposing to create 100 new multi-season deer tags that will be used in an exclusive draw. If this proposal is approved, hunters that submit a CWD test sample to the department are automatically entered in the drawing for a free multi-season deer tag for the following license year. The drawing would occur in the spring, and winners would be randomly chosen from among only those hunters that submitted a test sample to the department. The proposed deer multi-season tags are exclusive from the current existing multi-season opportunities, so there's no impact on the draw odds of existing multi-season tags. Otherwise, the proposed tags have identical restrictions as the existing multi-season deer tags. The department is able to offer these incentive tags for free because the costs are supported by a generous sponsorship from the Washington chapter of the Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and through existing legislative funds earmarked for CWD surveillance. So in this slide, we have the exact rule change proposal, as you would see in the WAC. The underlined text represents the proposed change to create 100 new multi-season deer tags. So that's a breakout area on the bottom. The hunt dates, GMUs, and legal animal are identical to the existing multi-season tags, while the eligible hunters section on the far right and its footnote at the bottom specifies the eligibility requirement of having submitted a sample to the department. There are no other changes to the WAC text or tables associated with this proposal. And I'm happy to take any questions about this proposal.
No questions from me, Kyle. Good job as usual.
All right. Do we have any public comment, Scott or Heather?
Sure. Thank you, Kyle. Now, as Kyle pointed out, we'll take a verbal public comment from attendees. If you'd like to speak, please use the raise the hand feature located at the bottom of your screen on the Zoom call. As a reminder, please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Everyone is currently muted. When it's your turn to speak, you'll be recognized by name or partial phone number, and you will be unmuted. And at this time, please state your name for the record, just as if you were attending the meeting in person. Staff will be listening and considering your testimony. However, staff will not be responding today to your comments or questions received during the hearing. Thank you. Okay.
Dan Wilson, you are unmuted.
Thank you. Good morning, Director and employees of Department of Fish and Wildlife. My name is Dan Wilson. I'm with the Washington chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, and thank you for the opportunity to provide comment today in support of this proposal. And I'm speaking on behalf of our board and our members. But I'd like to start by just relating a few personal anecdotes. 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to harvest a deer in Wyoming in a mandatory CWD testing unit. We had the lymph nodes removed and submitted for testing, and for nearly 2 months, I sat with that meat in the freezer, waiting for those test results. I spent that time internally debating what I would do if it came back positive, what it would mean to my ethics as a hunter. Would I risk it, eating it myself, but not sharing it with my family and friends? Would I have to call the department here for instructions on disposal? It was a long 2 months. Through that, though, I came back negative, but I was grateful to have the opportunity to know the risks that I could be bringing home to my family. And I was even more grateful with the information that was provided in the engagement that I've experienced around CWD. 3 years ago, also in Wyoming, I harvested a whitetail buck just hours before we had to break camp and come back to Washington. Once the deer was down, I did the quickest dressing I've ever done in my life, and I boned out the meat and followed every CWD precaution in accordance with the Washington guidelines. My point in relaying these stories about CWD is this: if you don't have it, you don't want it. If you do have it, you want as little as possible, but you have to know it's here and do everything you can to keep it away. That's the benefit of this proposal. By incentivizing participation, we can engage early detection that will benefit hunters, wildlife, the department's ability to fulfill its complete mandate. It supports the WDFW experts driving this process and research with qualitative and quantitative data on the disease. For these reasons, the Washington chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers not only supports this proposal, but has put our money where our mouth is in supporting these tag opportunities. We've talked to other chapters who have CWD in state, and we know we don't want it here. We know that the most important step we can all take is to test as much and as often as possible from ungulate populations most at risk of natural transmission. I graciously thank the department, staff, scientists, and leadership for their initiative in this proposal, and look forward to continuing to support the good work that you all do on behalf of the state of Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Any other comments or questions? I'll ask one more time, any other comments or questions from those individuals that are participating remotely? Okay. Well, I think that's it. For any other comments or questions, I'd like to conclude the meeting. Thank you to those who provided their testimony today and to all those who have submitted written comments to us during the comment period. We expect to receive a decision from the director in the coming days. That meeting for the decision will not be recorded, but the decision will be posted online and announced in an upcoming Fish and Wildlife Communications news release. Thank you again to everyone who participated, and this concludes today's hearing. Thank you.